What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Twister, directed by Jan de Bont. Now, I'm going to try and make this review as short as I possibly can because I love Twister. I grew up with this movie. I love this movie. Twister is a movie that doesn't really have much of a plot or a story to it. It's just basically a group of storm chasers pretty much chasing down Twisters because they want to pretty much analyze a Twister and tornadoes and try and as a way to increase survival rate, in a way. That's pretty much the overall plot to this movie. There's nothing really to it. Now, this movie's not about plot. This movie's about grand spectacle. This is one of the best disaster movies to come out of the 1990s, to me at least, because I remember being 6 years old watching this movie. I loved it then and I love it now. This movie has some really cool special effects. It's got a really good cast that includes Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt as Bill the Extreme, and Helen Hunt plays his ex-wife Jo. Now, the human story to this movie, it's kind of flimsy. If anything, the character of Bill and Jo used to be a married couple. Bill wants to have Jo sign the divorce papers, but instead he gets sucked into Jo's wacky adventure as a storm chaser, and storm chasing down the Twisters, and that's pretty much how the movie gets going. Uh, Now, from an acting standpoint, like I said, the movie's got a really good cast. Bill Paxton as Bill the Extreme. I think he's really good. Helen Hunt is good in her role as Jo as well. And you have a good supporting cast that includes the late Philip Seymour Hoffman and Carrie Elwes, who plays this human villain known as Jonas. And to me, the human villain Jonas, he's kind of superfluous. This movie does not need a human villain. That's just there to give some stakes to this movie. And the character of Melissa, who is pretty much Bill's girlfriend, she serves absolutely no purpose to this movie as well. She is just there as filler. You can take the character of Melissa out, and I think this movie would have been better off for it because she doesn't really add anything. She's basically a third wheel between Bill and Jo. That's it. Her contributions begin and end there. At least the character of Jonas, though I don't think this movie needs a human villain, at least there's something there because Jonas used to, chase storms with Bill and Jo until Jonas kind of went on his own, and he pretty much stole the idea of Dorothy, which is this device that can help analyze a twister. Jonas pretty much took that concept and passed it off as his own, and now he's getting a lot of endorsement deals and is making a lot of money. And for the scenes that he's on screen, Cary Elwes does a good job of playing just a pompous, snobbish dick. He's good in the movie. I enjoyed him as well. I also like the group that are on Bill's team. I like the whole running gag how they always call Bill the Extreme because in his heyday, Bill was an extreme. And I like the camaraderie with everybody. They feel like genuine friends, and all the actors fit their role perfectly. And you really get the impression these guys have been together for a very very long time, and that they are veterans at what they're doing, and the acting really shows with that as well. This movie's got a really good crop of just very talented actors, and they all fit their roles perfectly. Against a very flimsy story, you're gonna get what you get in terms of story quality with this movie. Like I said, this movie's not about story quality; it's about grand spectacle. And now that I've talked about the acting and stuff like that, let's talk about what really matters: the production side of it. This movie, by 1996 standards, to me, this movie still holds up. This is a great-looking movie. The scenes of the twisters, they all look ferocious and devastating and deadly. Yet they're all really, but they look like grand spectacles. Um, and I like how Jo herself has a personal connection to these twisters. As you see in the prologue, when Jo was a little girl, her father was killed by a twister that pretty much ransacked her entire town. So Jo is pretty much on a personal vendetta. It's almost as if this movie is portraying the Twister as a slasher villain, and that is kind of weird. And I think you're getting a little too far fetched. Jo just being obsessed with wanting to know about Twisters is good enough. Having the underline of the Twister acting like a slasher villain, that's kind of weird, and I don't get that, to be honest with you. Like, I really don't get it, and I think it's kind of stupid, to be honest with you. But overall, the overall quality of this movie to me is really, really good. Like I said, the production value and special effects, they are spectacular by 1996 standards, and today to me still very much hold up. This movie has got a very good sense of humor to it. I like all these characters. I like all these characters for for a variety of reasons. But my favorite ones are Dusty because he's pretty much the resident rock and roller. The character of Bill the Extreme because I love Bill Paxton. Helen Hunt, who I thought was really good in the role, and I actually don't mind the chemistry between her and Bill Paxton. They have scenes to me where they are very, very genuine, and scenes to me where it could be kind of forced in a lot of areas, particularly this triangle romance that this movie tries to force in, and it just doesn't work because the character of Melissa just doesn't have anything to her. She's like I said, she's just a third wheel, and pretty much near the end of the movie, she kind of disappears anyway once the Twister attacks this drive-in movie theater, and pretty much destroys it to shreds while it's playing The Shining, which is pretty cool to itself. So yeah, after that, she kind of disappears. All throughout the movie, she's just complaining and complaining and complaining and complaining about what Bill used to do with the storm chasing. So yeah, her character to me is kind of annoying, and I'm glad she kind of left. This movie would have benefited without even her having her in this thing. And like I said, to go back to Jonas, even though Jonas was not needed, you're better off just having Jonas you're better off just having Jonas instead of having two useless characters. It's better just to have one useless character. As I said, he has more of a connection to Bill and Joe, so his character has merit to be there. The Melissa has no merit to be there. But yeah, it is what it is. What are you gonna do, right? So yeah, so you have a movie that has a very good, talented crop of actors. You have dazzling special effects, really good, breathtaking scenes, particularly that of the ending scene where Joe and Bill are trying desperately to survive this F5 tornado, and it's a miracle they pretty much got out of there alive. The last 10 minutes of the movie, very, very thrilling. All the other scenes, very, very thrilling as well, especially where they're driving the cars and they gotta like do swerves and twists and turns in order to like dodge debris and stuff like that. Really good stuff. The scene where they have to go to the town of Wakita to save Joe's aunt, that's a really good scene as well. I like all that stuff. And I also love the scene where we first meet the aunt and you really get a sense that this group is a family. And that scene where they're having, food together really like shows just the family element of this group, and it really makes you like and appreciate these characters even more. So yeah, those are basically my thoughts on Twister. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I still love this movie. Yes, I got problems with it, but to me, it still holds up. The cast is great. The production value is great. And this movie is still a damn fun, entertaining ride. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Twister. Side note, because of this movie, I love Van Halen. Human Beings is a great song. Anyway, like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.